My name is Jason Kasuto, the Chairperson of the Economic Association of Namibia. We are the host of the Namibia Oil and Gas Conference, the third segment 2025, and of course we're doing this in partnership with Namibia Investment Promotion Development Board, NAMCO, the Hans Seidel Foundation, and SNC Incorporated. The meaningful outcomes really stems from what's new in this year's event. So based on our lessons of experience from the past two, what I would say successful events, we have been able to segment this year's event in a very meaningful way, where as the same as last year, but we've start off with masterclasses. Our masterclass this year, preceding the main official opening of the event, would look at bringing experts together with members of the public, SMEs, Namibians wanting to participate in the value chain. So we've got a specific segment around local content and being able to participate in the value chain, both providing experience from suppliers and matching that with those local enterprises that would like to participate in the value chain. Then what we have as part of the official opening, of course, we've got high-level government ministers to be able to do the opening, of course. So far confirmations from the Prime Minister and the Deputy Prime Minister. But what's important is that we have this year segmented strategy discussions and technical discussions. So we will have topics revolving around strategy, outlook, what is Namibia's outlook, what are the type of conversations that are required in order for Namibia to pursue the industry in a meaningful way. And then you've got more technical discussions that are happening with subject matter experts from the industry, of course, and champions in the industry globally, who are then talking to those delegates that are interested within that sphere, both happening across different topics at the very same time. Look, the Economic Association of Namibia's mandate is really to be a voice and facilitate that voice between private sector, civil society, and policymakers. Hence our conceptualization and eventual execution 3 years ago of the Oil and Gas Conference. So that mandate still sits very close to everything we do within the Oil and Gas Conference. Hence, we will bring high-level decision makers within this policy space and legislative space of the oil and gas industry, and we will ensure that that discussion is had in order to have a meaningful impact on those that make decisions in the sector, right? So that is around policy, and also allowing the audience and the delegates to get an understanding of what are the key consideration and outlooks that our policymakers do have. So that meaningful impact from a policy perspective is within the organization of the entire conference. Absolutely. We have said we cannot have more than enough conversations around what would be a very new industry, although exploration has happened for many years, right? And that's why we see ourselves as a complementary effort to all other conferences that also take place around the industry. The fact that we have got quite a large number of delegates coming. I stand to check in with the team again on the latest figures, but above 400 international delegates and above 600 local delegates, over 1,000 delegates in total. And also accessibility, because what we have said is that we need to ensure that this platform and this conference, as a Namibia Oil and Gas Conference, needs to be as easy to access as possible and as affordable to access as possible for our general population, including our entrepreneurs and our young people and so forth. So We have complemented that this year with an even bigger exhibition platform. For our SMEs, we are almost sold out in terms of just the exhibition platform, where SMEs are able to showcase what they are able to offer along the value chain that can be of value to the industry. So the voices will be heard through various platforms within the conference, and of course throughout the 12th to the 15th there will be dedicated networking sessions and B2B matchmaking sessions, which again amplifies the voice of Namibians. Well, production, before production, we've got this entire appraisal phase, and it is said that during this phase, it presents a lot of opportunities for local content and value chain benefit, but it really depends on how equipped Namibians are in order to take advantage of those opportunities. I think that Namibia has done a lot in terms of being transparent around some of the key policy decisions the country wants to take. I think we need to ramp that up and speed it up in order to provide the industry with clarity around what that would look like. But of course, from a policy point of view, I'm sure government is doing the best it can to ramp that up. Of course, as we've seen, the President, Her Excellency Menetumbo Ndaitwa, has brought oil and gas within the office of the presidency. That signifies a very big move, and of course, the presence of the managing director of Total global level coming to Namibia and having positive sentiments around that. So I think that from a path that we are following, Namibia is in the right direction. We do need to obviously look at other factors such as infrastructure readiness and so forth in order to ensure that we're able to retain as much value as we can in country. I think it's twofold. I think is from one end being a responsible investor, and of course the investors would like to, and I'm sure also have a responsible arm within them, but it's also a policy directive in terms of local content and allowing our young people obviously to upskill. Okay, Namibia has got what I would say a very strong mining sector, so in a sense that also allows us to transfer some skills from the mining sector, but the skilling is still a very big requirement. So that is one way. Of course, the value chain is another way of participating and ensuring that our businesses, some who exist in other sectors, can also migrate or diversify into the sector, and hopefully we build backward and forward linkages in terms of our enterprises, and I think that should be really a policy aim of creating and ensuring value is retained in country. Well, inclusive growth can only be achieved if we're able to provide the necessary infrastructure and support that the industry needs in order for the industry to actually add to local economic development. So there are examples of countries that have seen oil rigs, big cars, foreign expats coming, and no sort of local economic development flow within their country. And this is something that we should be very mindful of, to say, how do we capture that local economic development? How do we create the businesses locally that are actually meaningfully participating both during this phase of development and then post this phase? So these are the discussions we aim to have at the conference, so that we can see what is best for Namibia. Namibia actually has a very good advantage of coming later on into the industry. That allows Namibia to be able to have learned from the pitfalls and the successes of other jurisdictions. It does so by creating this platform. It does so by ensuring that we have credible partners in terms of sponsors. I think that has been a key highlight, that the industry has really come through in terms of supporting this conference and ensuring that we've got thought leadership throughout the thematic areas of the conference in order to ensure that really the collaboration shows that Namibia is gearing itself up to be ready. Namibia is that environment that can ensure that this industry thrives, but at the same time, thriving would mean ensuring that our local Namibians are actually benefiting meaningfully. I think it's self-determination with international support through win-win arrangement. That signifies what I would say for the energy sector should be our vision, right? And through that, we want to be able to achieve self-sufficiency from an energy point of view. Let's produce what we also consume, right? And given the resources that are there, let's eventually get there. Let's understand that there should be a roadmap towards that, but let's never lose sight of that, because yes, we are extractive based, but there must be a roadmap towards being able to add value, being able to produce energy that is required for Namibia, and maybe we can also assist our neighboring countries in supporting them around that. But let us look at being self-sufficient eventually, and ensuring that Namibia, as a very small population, although sparsely populated, has got a standard of living that is dignified for every Namibian. I would just like to add that let's participate, let us educate ourselves, let us grow. No one knows it all. Let's make sure that where platforms are availed, such as this, Namibians, please make sure that you register, get online. It's very easy. Let's not leave it to the last minute where we get a situation where we oversubscribe, but this is our opportunity to learn, grow, and participate.